Like and subscribe right now, and you'll have amazing luck for an entire week. In today's video, a tiny octopus with enough venom to kill 26 adult humans, some snake species that will kill you in 20 minutes or less, and the type of bee you should never mess with. But first, we'll start with this. Number 10. Funnel web spider. The Australian funnel web spider is one of those spider species that you should really be afraid of. I know, the sight of any spider is scary for most of you, but very few of them are actually harmful enough to warrant serious caution. According to Britannica, out of the 43,000 spider species, less than 30 of them are harmful to humans. The reason here is simple. The venom is meant to work on small animals that the spiders prey on. But for some, like the funnel web spider, their venom is extremely potent, that even big animals like us could easily succumb to the bite. Thankfully, this hasn't occurred for the longest time, as there's an antivenom that works pretty well. Still, the effects of the spider's bite can be a bit hard to bear. There's the initial excruciating pain, which ushers in a progressive set of symptoms depending on the extent of envenomation. In the most extreme cases, death can occur in as little as 15 minutes. In the majority of bites though, symptoms usually include nausea, elevated heartbeat and blood pressure, vomiting, and breathing difficulties, among others. In the absence of treatment, the final stages are marked by muscle twitching, pupil dilation, and passing out. Number 9. Snakes. Well, just like spiders, not all snakes are aggressive or looking to attack you. In fact, of the 3,000 known snake species, only 600 of them are venomous, and even for these venomous types, less than 200 of them pose any considerable risk to people. But even for these risky ones, most will usually choose flight over fight, attacking only when cornered. Problem here is that it's not always possible to tell the good and bad ones apart unless you're some snake enthusiast. That's why for most of us, the default response at the sight of a snake is fright. This is even more true if you happen to be in a place like Australia, which is home to 10 of the most venomous snakes in the world. Some of these include the inland taipan and the coastal taipan, which are among the top 3 deadliest snakes. While the inland taipan is far more lethal than its coastal counterpart, the latter is more feared as it tends to be overly aggressive and extremely fast with its strikes. Away from Australia, there are other deadly serpents like the black mamba, the banded crate, the king cobra, and the boomslang, among others. Number 8. Pufferfish. I think in this case it's more about not eating it instead of running away. Anyway, a pufferfish isn't going to attack you, but you won't have enough time to regret ingesting it. It's one of the most toxic animals, with enough toxins to kill 30 adult humans. Most pufferfish contain a toxin called tetrodotoxin that's about 1,200 times more toxic than cyanide, an equally lethal metabolic poison. The toxin is also lethal to potential predators, but most importantly, it's foul-tasting, so they usually have to spit out the pufferfish as soon as possible. For the pufferfish, this is more a secondary defense mechanism. The first cause of action, when faced with the predator, lies in its highly elastic stomach. Instead of running out, the fish quickly ingests a lot of water, essentially turning it into a ball that's a bit hard to gulp down. That and the presence of spines on most pufferfish species ensures the rather slow fish can survive in an ecosystem filled with some of the swiftest predators, like sharks. The highly toxic nature of pufferfish doesn't mean you can't eat them, though. Yes, it's extremely dangerous, but a good cook who knows how to make a pufferfish delicacy can make all the difference. The Japanese, in particular, love some fugu soup, usually prepared by highly trained chefs. Number 7. African elephant. Of course you wouldn't want to mess with the biggest land animal in the world. Its dangerous nature, though, is a bit more than just its size. Sure, most elephants are pretty chill for the most part, but getting them upset is going to bring out a side of them you'd rather not see. This is especially the case with moms and male elephants in must. For the mothers, it's pretty understandable since the wild isn't a particularly safe place for the weak and young. For the males in must, though, scientists are still trying to figure it out. And given the extreme aggression that comes with the condition, it's going to take some time for us to fully understand it. But here's what we know so far. The condition comes around during the winter period and is accompanied by secretions from two glands on the opposite sides of the head. No matter how friendly to the zookeepers the bulls are, they immediately become cranky, attacking people and even other animals around them, including other elephants, both male and female. Number 6. Nile Crocodile. The Nile croc can be found throughout sub-Saharan Africa, living in a variety of habitats including rivers, mangrove swamps, and freshwater marshes. Here, it occupies the top position in the food chain thanks to its immense size and generally aggressive approach to everything. As the largest crocodile species in Africa, Nile crocodiles easily grow to over 16 feet long and weigh about 500 pounds on average. On the higher end, some can reach 20 feet long and weigh in at a whopping 1,600 pounds. Maintaining that weight is no mean task, and given their position as apex predators, these crocs will feed on basically every animal they can find, consuming about half their body weight in a single sitting. By the way, basically every animal in this case includes humans too. The Nile and saltwater crocodiles are the only two croc species that actively treat humans as prey. In their African range, Nile crocodiles reportedly kill at least 200 people per year, according to estimates by National Geographic. Besides being ruthless hunters, the crocodiles are also avid defenders of their eggs, staying just around their nests ready to unleash terror on any animal that ventures too close. Number 5. Komodo Dragon. From the largest reptile in the world to the largest lizard in the world, the Komodo Dragon can grow up to 10 feet long and weigh about 330 pounds. An animal that size is certainly one you wouldn't want to deal with, but it's not only the sheer size that makes it dangerous. Once thought to employ toxic bacteria in their bites to aid in their hunting, Komodo dragons actually use venom glands whose secretions induce shock in their victims, lower blood pressure, and cause excessive bleeding. To set these effects off, the massive reptiles are known to inflict huge open wounds by grabbing huge chunks of their victim's flesh with their serrated teeth and pulling back using their powerful neck muscles. And even if the prey miraculously escapes, it won't live long as the venom will eventually take effect. And as soon as it becomes too weak to keep running, the Komodo dragon, thanks to its strong sense of smell, will be right there to gorge itself. Number 4. Box jellyfish. Most jellyfish species aren't harmful to humans, even if they sting. The box jellyfish, though, isn't most species. The Australian natives contain what's possibly the most potent venom, effectively earning them the not-so-nice titles of the deadliest sea creature and the world's most venomous creature. Even then, just a few box jellyfish species are actually harmful. The most notorious one is called Chironex fleckeri and is responsible for most fatalities in Australia. On average, a box jellyfish will have 5,000 stinging cells on each tentacle, ready to go at a moment's notice. Imagine getting stung that many times, all at once. Not so nice, right? It's no wonder why most victims of the stings immediately go into shock due to the excruciating pain, which, away from the shoreline, is a death sentence. That's why the victims usually die from drowning before even the venom fully kicks in. And even if they survive, the pain lasts for weeks and the tentacles leave considerable scarring. The venom itself attacks skin cells, the heart, and the nervous system, and tends to have more serious effects in kids due to their small body mass. According to researchers, this extremely lethal venom helps the box jellyfish kill prey without much struggle, as its tentacles aren't exactly built for hard labor. Number 3. Killer bees. The Africanized honeybee, or more commonly, killer bees, are the real-life supervillains of a lab experiment gone wrong. It's a hybrid species initially produced by crossbreeding the East African lowland honeybee with a couple of European types, specifically the Iberian and the Italian honeybees. The initial breeding started sometime in 1956 with the ultimate aim of increasing honey production, but just a year into the project, some 29 swarms took off and have since spread pretty much throughout South America and parts of North America. Unlike other honeybee varieties, killer bees react to perceived threats much faster and more aggressively, which is exactly why you don't want to be on the receiving end of their stings. Additionally, they have a larger proportion of guards, which are deployed in equally large numbers during an attack, usually chasing the target over a longer distance, roughly a quarter mile, compared to other bees. Since their initial escape, The bees have been responsible for at least 1,000 human deaths, with the victims receiving 10 times more stings than what you'd expect from European varieties. Number 2. Blue-ringed octopus. Who knew? One of the world's most venomous animals also happens to be relatively tiny. With a maximum length of 8 inches, the blue-ringed octopus is not necessarily the smallest octopus species, but it's certainly among the smallest. That, and its docile nature, might seem like an invitation to pet the mollusk, but hold on, you don't really want that. Or rather, you don't really want the consequences of doing that. As a blue-ringed octopus feels threatened, its blue rings become brighter, basically a last-ditch effort to discourage further intrusion. If you ignore that, you'll only have yourself to blame. The bite is known to cause paralysis, a condition you really don't want to be in when you're poking around underwater. While you'll still be aware of what's going on around you, you essentially can't do anything, not even call for help. And even worse about the whole situation is that there's currently no antivenom, so you'll need to wrestle with the effects until they eventually wear off, usually after 12 to 48 hours. Since the venom seriously messes with breathing, some form of artificial respiration is absolutely essential in keeping the victim alive for the entire 12 to 48 hours. Number 1. Hippo. For an animal that doesn't find meat particularly appealing, the hippo sure does have a penchant for killing. As the most dangerous mammal in Africa, it kills at least 500 people every year thanks to its highly aggressive and unpredictable nature. Of course, the size here plays a significant role in terms of ease of attack and the subsequent damage. No matter how badass you are, you're certainly not going to fight off a 3,000-pound beast. And unless you're a world-class sprinter, you're not going to outrun the animal either. If you're in your best shape, the best you can do is maybe 6 miles an hour, which is a far cry from a hippo's 19 miles an hour. Granted, the mammal won't do that over considerably long distances. The burst of speed is still enough to get to you even if you're a few feet away. Usually, it's the males that tend to be cranky, especially when they're in the water. Ruling over a group of 30 to 50 females, male hippos are extremely territorial and will attack any animal, including other hippos, who might look like a threat.